Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Mind Your Business, our business bites. I'm so glad you're here. You are in for a treat today. I have an amazing guest that's going to be joining us, and she is going to be talking to you about everything you need to know about BOI. If you don't know what that stands for, you need to tune in and listen. And I am going to be bringing Debbie Hillman on from Hillman Accounting so she can share with you all of the amazing information that she has regarding the new federal regulations that are going into effect. So when we talk about the BOI, this is not something that you might need to know about. It is definitely something for your business that you need to know. So if you have an LLC, then hop on and join us for the next 30 minutes while she provides you with some quality information about what this all means. So I'll give you a minute to share out to your friends and to your community because we want everyone that can join to join us for this particular session. I'm going to be doing that as well, sharing this out, and I encourage you to do the same. So, without further ado, let me bring Debbie on with us. So,
Hi,
welcome, Debbie.
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're here. I know this is a topic. I had the privilege of hearing your talk about it probably about a month ago. And it actually spawned into these business bites that we're doing, right? And
Yes.
really making sure that we're educating small business owners about what is needed for their business so that they can build and grow. So, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yes, of course. So, why don't you tell us just very quickly, why do we need to know about this beneficial ownership information filing? What does that even mean?
It's a new filing that went in effect in January. It's very important because of the fines that if you don't do, the fines are very high and there's actually jail time if you don't file this. So this is why a lot of people are scared or kind of shocked about it because you don't really see this in the tax world of like being jail time for like not filing something usually is more like white crime. You can get prison time for it. So this is just an information filing, but with some serious consequences if you don't file this.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you think that maybe, I'm not sure why they would do this, right? Like why this would be different. Is there a particular reason why the
It's
federal government went this way?
Yeah, it's not through the IRS. This filing's through FINRA, so it's more money laundering and terrorism where it's comes in effect. It was pushed back. This was supposed to go in effect last year, but it got pushed back because it's like going after the small people. Um, but it's a new regulation that went in effect January 1st, and not a lot of people know about it. So this is why we're trying to spread the word because you have until the end of the year to file this.
Okay, awesome. Well, that is great information to know. So let's just get started here really quickly. So Debbie does have, Debbie comes to us from South Jersey. She is a South Jersey native. She grew up in the area. She's very well known in the area. She's been doing accounting for 16 years, Debbie.
Yes.
And she recently started her own firm. So we're very excited about that. She has been working side by side in different ways with different accounting firms. And now she is exploring this on her own. And we are so excited about that. And she has so much information to share. So I am going to put up her presentation and we're going to get started. if you have questions, post them in the comments. I will put them up. We'll go through them and answer all of your questions throughout the next 30 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, so what is BOI filing? Why is it important and how we can help? This is very important. It's showing you what it is, the requirements, and how I can help you or your accountant can help you do this filing. So the BOI filing is the business owner information filing. It is introduced to you by the Corporate Transparency Act that was passed 2 years ago. And like I said before, it is designed to combat money laundering, fraud, and legal activities. So it's giving the database more information about who owns what company so they can trace the money if there's any fraud going on. Important thing is it's not part of your tax return, and it has nothing to do with the IRS. It all goes to FINRA, and FINRA is the department that oversees the money laundering and terrorism. Who needs to file is very important. C corps, S corps, LLCs, and partnership. Basically, any entity that actually has to file with the state. This is important because if you're a sole proprietorship and you just file sales tax, you're not really registered with the state. You're just registered with the sales tax, so you wouldn't have to file this. There are some exclusions. The most important ones are the public traded, the bank and credit unions, the investment insurance, because they're overseen by other stricter forces like the SEC. So they don't have to do this because there's someone else overseeing them. Certain inactive entities, large operating companies, and nonprofits don't have to file. So that's kind of important also.
Can I ask a quick question, Debbie?
Yes.
What are inactive entities?
I'm glad you asked because you can go to the next slide.
Okay, great.
So the inactive companies, it's anyone that has no business, has no real assets in the LLC, and doesn't have to file a tax return. So anything that has under $1,000 is considered to not have assets. Now, the important thing is if you have rental companies that own the property of the rental, because you want to do that for liability reasons, the house is an asset. So even if it's not actively renting out right now, the house makes it active because it is a large asset. The other thing is the large operating companies. There are the companies that have 20 or more full-time employees, have a physical office, a presence in the U.S., and has a gross of $5 million. So they are excluded for this. So the important thing is any business LLC, we're talking LLCs mostly, or S corp, because that's the smaller business. They have to file it. So a lot of people don't consider like them being a business owner because they have a rental property, but most of the time you put it into an LLC for the liability of it, because if anything ever happens, they can only go after that LLC and not the individual itself, or there's more barriers. So any small business that has more than $1,000 in the bank account.
Okay, great. So if you have an LLC that maybe you are not doing anything with, you're trying to dissolve it, or that you've used for a particular property, maybe you've sold that property, just haven't closed the LLC yet, but there's no money coming into it, those are not held the same.
Correct.
Okay.
Because they're inactive.
Okay. Great. That's good to know. So for all of you that have LLCs that you haven't done anything with, at this point, as long as there's no money coming into them, you don't have to abide by the standard, but you will once money starts transacting.
Correct.
Okay. Excellent.
So the filing is not a very complicated filing. But there's two parts of the reporting. Is the individual or the owner or any partner that owns more than 25% of the company or has control over it, you would need to give your full legal name, your birthday, your physical address where you live, not a PO box. They want to know exactly where you live. And then you're going to have to upload your driver's license or passport. And it's the same thing for the business. You have to give them the legal name, the DBA, if you have a DBA, which is another name for the business, the business address, not the mailing address, but the physical location, the state that was formed by, and then the EIN number. And then this is an annual. It's a one-time filing unless you move. If you move either the business or yourself, even if you move across the street, you have to update them. And you have a 30-day window from when you actually move to have to report, to fix the filings and re-report it. So this is where people will file this and will forget about it, because you don't have to do this every year like your tax return. And sometimes, like, us accountants don't know you actually move until you tell us come April. So it's very important that if you move, this is another document that you have to tell everybody that you moved to. And you have, like I said, it's a 30-day. It's not 30 work days. It's a 30 calendar filing. So if you move on the 1st, you have until the 30th. It doesn't matter weekends or anything like that. So that's something else. Usually the deadlines are, business days, but this is actual calendar month.
That's good to know. We do have a question that's coming in,
Okay.
Debbie, and it says, can a business be run from a home?
Yes. So you just have the same, you still fill out the same thing, but when they ask the business, you just give the business address. And when you ask for your personal, you just put your personal. It'd be the same. It's very common.
But if you have a business from home and it grows and you have to expand and you move the physical location,
then you would have to file an updated filing for this.
Okay, great. And there's another question, and it says, what special license do I need, if any?
It's just your state ID, your state driver's license, or a U.S. passport.
Right. And that's because it's an LLC. That's kind of the documentation that they require for an LLC to be established. Right.
It's more just proof of your ID itself. I think it's more like tracking, and it's more, I want to say more for tracking. Like I said, this is for like laundering money. They want to like trying to get away from the shell companies, if you want to get more technical. I think this is just trying to help oversee any terrorism.
Right. No, that makes sense. So there's one last question and then we'll get to the next slide.
Okay. Who do I report it to? You file this through the FINRA website. And I talk about that in the next slide.
Okay, great. So we'll make sure you have that information. All right.
Yeah, so this is electronically submitted through FINRA secure website filing. You can just go and Google it. It comes right up. Just make sure you get the government website, and there's due date. So if the business was actually formed before January 1st, the deadline is not until December 31st. That's why if you met with your accountants, they might have talked about it, but not tell you to do it right now because of the deadline of just taxes. So I know a lot of accountants are talking to their clients now because it's the off season. But it's just a reminder that you have until December 31st to file it if the business was formed before January 1st. If it's January 1st of 24, you have 30 days to file it. So what I usually do is if I have forming a LLC for a client, it's already established that I will do this for them when you file it. And then, if things change and the address changes, in 9 months, then we just do an updated form in 9 months to do it, because the new formations have more stricter rules now.
That's great to know. And when you say if you're forming the LLC for somebody, what do you mean by that?
So I actually, file it with the IRS and the state. I get them all registered. I give them the operating agreement and I give them a whole packet so they can go right to the bank and open up a bank account because they need the EIN number, they need the state registration, they need the the operation agreement to actually open the bank account. So if you were a brand new person, like I want to open an LLC, I is part of the whole packet now that I give them. And that way, it's done right away. And I say, I'm like, okay, now you're going to be in the database. So what I'm doing for my clients is like every 3 months, I'm going to send them a email saying, hey, this is just your reminder. If you're moving or thinking about moving, keep this in the back of your mind because if you can go to the next slide, it's the penalties for not filing are so high that I just want to give all my clients a reminder saying, did you move? Because if you fail to file this or not update it, it's $500 per day, up to $10,000 and 2 years in jail. So this is why it's kind of a lie. And this is why we're trying to spread the word because we don't really see prison time for like an information filing. So that's why it's so important that everyone knows about this and files is on time. Just because $500 per day, that's pretty hefty because in the tax world, you don't really see that per day. So
Right.
it's very important for everyone to file this.
That's high. That seems like really high. We
Yes.
have another question, Debbie.
Okay.
Does it expire if the business report late? If the business reports late?
I'm
So
not sure
I
what
think
expires.
what the question is if they allow their business to expire, the LLC, is
If
there
it's operating, if it's open in 2024, you have to file it. So even if you're closing it down, you still need to file it in 23 for 20. Like if you're still operating right now, you need to file it even if you plan on closing your doors by December 31st.
and what if they set it up today and then they file this within 30 days and then over the next 12 months, the report is not, they don't file their business reports like they're supposed to? Does that
But this has not,
impact
so this has nothing to do with the tax filing.
Okay. This is
So
completely
this,
separate.
yeah, this has nothing to do. This is not going to be on the tax return for your 24 return. It This information doesn't even go to the IRS or to the state. You would think the IRS has this data per se, and the state, because like New Jersey, there's an annual report you have to file every year just to give them the correct address. You would think they would be able to put everything into one database. This is strictly for FINRA and the Fed, not the federal IRS. It's a whole different department, just like Homeland. So this doesn't even get reported to the IRS. So this is not part of your extension, if you would say, for your taxes if you
Right.
file late.
Okay.
So right now this is a one-time filing unless you actually change addresses or you move. Now, if you file this, right, and then next year you close your business, as of right now, you don't have to let them know. You don't have to update it. If you close down. But if you're still having the business operating and you are making that tax tax filing on your Schedule C of your personal taxes, then you have to change it. But as of right now, if you are an LLC, you have to open it and then you close it, then there's nothing. You don't have to inform that you closed this.
Got it. So if they started the LLC prior to 2024, they still have to make sure to file this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I think this is such a big thing for us to really understand that It's so important when you have your LLC. Now, I know, Debbie, like for us, and I'll use our church as an example, right? I know it's a nonprofit, so therefore we're not responsible for having to do this. But
Yes.
currently, today, the registered address for the church is a PO box. Is that allowed?
No. So they do not want any post office. You actually have to give the physical address of the church, but the church is excluded. But yeah, if you use a PO box for your business, you're going to have to either, because you do it at home, which a lot of small businesses, if they work from home, they use a PO box. You're going to have to give them your address of the office in your home. Or like, I just moved into my new office, so the first couple months I was working out of my house. Now that it's up and running, I have to like update mine saying I moved to this is my location. So I'm in that boat, like I had to file it and now I have to update it because of the formations. So and following the formation is just, you just redo the whole process. And it's like I said, it's just your name, your address, your birthday, and the business EIN number, and you just use the physical address. Now, what I've come across is some people, or in between places. And so like, okay, can you, here's the paperwork, just wait until I get a new like physical address. But we can wait because the formation was in 23. So 23, you have more leeway. And if you file in 24, you have that 30-day window.
Got it. So so you would recommend, let's say that I formed mine, which I did, right? I formed it prior to 2024. And now I want to move my office location. I have until December 31st to actually put that in there.
Yes, or to actually file your initial report. Because when you go in there, you'll click initial or like updated report or amended report. And then if you file the initial, you just do initial, and if you're updating, you just click like updated or amended filing, and you just change what needs to get changed.
Okay. Awesome. So I know these penalties look really, really high. Do you think they'll enforce them?
I think they will. It might be a scare tactic. I don't know because it's brand new. We don't know who's actually governing it. I think there could be more prison time once they're looking for you for something else. I think you're being looked at for money laundering, and this is a one way they can catch you and put you in jail for them to build a bigger case. We don't know how they're going to enforce it. I don't know how they're going to know that you moved. I don't know if they have the ability to pull, like you're selling your house to move to another house. I don't know if they're going to pull information from the IRS. We don't know, but it's a fine that is scaring a lot of people.
Well, and I think until we have a better understanding, we have to take it serious.
Yes.
And the reality is, right, you file it the first time, it doesn't expire until you move. But I don't know about anybody else, but that would not be something I would consider in the back of my head while I'm getting ready to move. Quite honestly, by December 31st, I've probably forgotten about it, if I'm completely honest, right?
Yes.
And so, what are you doing to help people remember that?
If I'm doing your filing, I'm creating a database for all my clients. And then every quarter, I'm just going to send out an email saying, hey, this is your reminder. Did you move? This is your file. Remember the BOI filing we did. If you move, this is your reminder to tell me. Or if you're thinking about moving, keep this in the back of your head to let me know. So every 3 months, I'm sending an email to my clients saying, did you move? Basically, that's the answer. Did you move? Or are you gone and move? And that way, I don't want to bar people every month. So every quarter, you know, you don't move every month. So if you do move, at least it's in back of your head, you know, 4 times a year. Because sometimes what I've seen is people forget to tell us they moved until April, or when they come in and do the taxes and they have to change the address on the tax return. That's the only way that we move. We know people move, unless we do some tax planning for like assets they sold for that move. So that was my idea, is just a friendly reminder. Hey, this is requirements. This is your quarterly reminder. Did you do anything?
I
And
think
that
that's a
way
great
they can respond yes, and then I can call them and say, okay, this is like, fill this new thing out. Like, they have an engagement letter I have them fill out, and they fill out all this paper, like the questionnaire, and then they send me a copy of their driver's license, and then I do the filing for them.
I love that. I think it's so important. And, you know, that we just have it in the back of our mind. Something, if I'm getting reminder emails from, you know, my accountant or from somebody I know that is managing my business, it's so important. So I'm just thinking like, okay, great. I'll keep this in mind. I'll keep this in mind. So that's awesome. So I'll remove this. We've been asking if anybody has questions. So are there any other questions before we surrender this time and give Debbie her time back to get back to all that she's doing? If there's any other questions, please post them in the comments and we will answer them. Debbie, what is a way that people can get in touch with you?
So right now, my website is hillmanaccounting.com. There's my calendar, so they can book the appointment. They're in 30-minute increments, and that way we can discuss any accounting needs or the BOI filing. Like you said, I have 15 years of tax, so my focus is in tax and bookkeeping to help smaller businesses. And that way I give a free consultation for that 30 minutes, and then we can discuss any issues that they have either with tax or the BOI filing.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love it. I think I didn't say it on this one, but I will say this now. Every person that comes to this stage has been vetted and or used by me, right? Like I know them in a personal context. I have worked with Debbie. We have a working relationship as well as friendship. And so I know you can trust her. And that is why she's here and she's sharing this amazing information. So if you have any questions, set up a free consultation with her. I mean, you're going to get so much information. She's really going to help you structure everything that you need properly. So make sure that you reach out to her. Her website is hillmanaccounting.com. You can schedule your free consultation. And if you do not have a bookkeeper or accountant or tax preparer, reach out to her, see if you can connect with her and get on her schedule, because she is a wealth of knowledge. She does an amazing job, and she's going to make sure that you know where your business is at all the time. So awesome. Anything final you want to say, Debbie?
No, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you here. We're going to let you all go. This live will still be published. So you'll be able to go back. You can also go to my YouTube channel, Holly Whaley Inc., and get all of the information there as well. And you'll probably see it on Debbie's website too. So thank you guys for joining Mind Your Business. I'm excited that you joined this afternoon with us. Have a great day.